Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. Today, we're going to continue working on the front of the park with sort of the keyholes for Gatekeeper, the front entrance, as well as sort of some of the ticketing booths, and just the front plaza in general. So, this is me from the future, of course, so I've gotten a decent bit further than some of this, so I will have to sort of hold myself back from dropping too many details, but I'm pretty happy with how a lot of this work has turned out up till now and through the end of this episode. I think we've gotten quite a bit done, a pretty good start on the front of the park, but yeah. I think I'll switch to talking more about sort of what's currently going on and what happened in the last episode. So, pretty happy with releasing the first episode, pretty happy with Gatekeeper, and it fit pretty well actually with the first episode being creating Gatekeeper, at least the track work. And looking forward to sort of filling out this area around Gatekeeper. I think that's sort of my first goal for the rest of the park, I'd say. Let's get this front area worked out, figured out, working well with Gatekeeper, so we can see those beautiful keyholes. See the ride go through those beautiful keyholes. See all those views from the front, the Cedar Point sign, the flowers, the trees, the ticket booths, the restrooms to the left of the entrance before you go through, stuff like that. I have to think back. Yeah, this was before they released the update where you could make stuff smaller than 10%, I think was the minimum at this point. I don't exactly remember the exact number, but up to this point, I hadn't had any issues where I needed the art pieces to go much smaller. But I'm definitely glad they did that. It'll make working on the rest of this significantly easier and sort of more detail oriented. It really helps to unlock quite a bit of detail. Yeah, here you're kind of seeing a little bit of, once you get in the rhythm of something, it starts going quite fast. And you sort of start learning little ways of doing repetitive tasks in a way where you can make it much faster. So there, just like that, we have a pretty much the main roof for the front entrance. I mean, the front entrance is fairly simple, and a lot of what's going on in the front is fairly simple. As we'll see later on, I took sort of the liberties of doing a lot of the front work on my own when it comes to sort of adding textures to certain buildings, but overall, I think it worked good. So here we're getting started on some sort of pillars that seem to be sort of the main support for this roof. I noticed when I was at the park a couple 4 or 5 days ago that these pillars aren't the only thing holding it up. There's some more pillars on the backside as well, but use a combination of Google Earth, Street View, YouTube walkthroughs. Street View is actually outdated for the front. All the Street View for Cedar Point is pre Gatekeeper. So in that regard, it's a little sad, but we're making it work. Yeah. So far, pretty happy with how this is turning out. We got quite a bit of work that we have to do in the front, and gonna leave you guys out for a little break. Come back when I got some more topics to talk about. Enjoy. Man, I will say these pathing tools in this game are quite powerful. This part right here is very interesting. I end up needing to use this quite a bit, and I'll probably end up using this in quite a few other areas in the park where I need sort of circular plazas. I actually can't remember how much experimenting I did. I remember this took a while before I figured it out, but once I figured it out, I know this turned out great. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, now it's working good. Yeah, if you guys need methods for making circular plazas, this right here works like a dream. Would you look at that? Like, and then now I wish there was an easier way to line paths up when you group select paths to the ground. This is quite a tricky little thing to get right, and I think I had to redo this, or I mean, again, we'll see here in a little bit. But either way, the next time I do this, I never get it again on my first try. That is absolute insanity that I managed that on the first try. I love just sort of how that turns out just by itself. I have the color a little bit wrong. I just deleted Gatekeeper. But yeah, I think this is really turning out good so far. This front plaza area, there's still a significant amount of work to do, and one of my favorite parts is still to come. To me, it's just crazy how detailed even sort of simple parts of a park is, and it's one of those things where when you stand back and really look at it, it's kind of just shocking. I mean, obviously you want a place that you visit to be exciting, to be interesting, and even somewhere like Cedar Point, where details aren't like everything. I'm not saying that in sort of a bad way. Like, there are very important details in these parks, and I think they are, in general, very nice looking. But compared to something like Disney, where you know every excruciating detail has been thought through, at Cedar Point, obviously, there is still much less going on. But it's still crazy, even considering that there's much less going on, how great of detail this park can have. And I think it's truly kind of a thing of beauty. And being able to sort of look at the park in another eye has kind of been eye-opening. I've already visited twice this year, all of them since these videos. I'll be perfectly honest, but it's really nice being able to go to the park and sort of look at it in a different eye, and maybe look at some of the architecture and why things are the way they are. It's really quite interesting. Everything has a purpose. The main gate to get you in the park, the ticketing for giving you tickets, the restrooms, because people, especially at Cedar Point, the parks have restrooms outside their main gate normally, but especially at a place like Cedar Point, where everyone's driving from an hour away, considering at least an hour away, and normally hours away, since the closest metro area is, I don't know how close Cleveland is, but the rest of us got to come from a while away to get there. And, obviously, you're going to need a bathroom right outside. And it just sort of all works together to create this really cool and amazing place. All right. Back to what we're working on here. We're starting to work on the keyholes. And I think it takes a while for me to get the right details into the keyholes, but I think especially towards the end, I think the details all come together marvelously, and I think I'm very happy with how the keyholes turned out for Gatekeeper. I like how in my mind I'm sort of working on this in the order of what my brain notices when I enter the park. I need to think about that sort of statement a little bit more, but I feel like when you're arriving at the park, the first thing you see when you're walking up to the thing, or when you're walking up to sort of that main entry plaza, is Gatekeeper and the keyholes. Like when you're gazing at the park, especially because I'm kind of cutting myself off, basically right at the security gates. Anything before the security gates, you're not gonna have. But obviously, there are other things to look at. But it's one of those things that just grabs your eye, grabs your attention, and it seems like it's grabbed my eyes and grabbed my attention for creating this park as well. Yeah, I think this really was a challenge for me to make these, and again, I've talked about this before. Sort of scenery and buildings and all of this stuff has never really been my strong suit in these games. So I think it really is something which challenges me, and I think I've kind of been liking this challenge lately. Actually, I feel like I haven't been getting bored building it. It's more so been a time management thing. I haven't been able to spend as much time on it as I want because, you know, full-time job, engineer, life. So haven't been able to spend as much time on it as I like, but I think when I've been working on it, I've been having a very good time actually, and I'm quite happy with this, and I hope to spend a decent bit more time. And in fact, I have spent a decent bit more time on it since making these. I did edit these, or I recorded these months ago. This has been quite a while in the making already. And I feel like hours spent on it does not match how long it's been going so far. But like I said, again, we're all living life. Sometimes you can't spend it on building something cool and playing a coaster, but there's something that's just so nice about it. I like that I'm using the train as sort of the clearance envelope for creating all these. I think that works out good. Trying to figure out exact angles sort of towards the top of these things was a little bit tricky. But after playing around with it for a little bit, I think I found good angles and everything that look good and look realistic at the same time. So that really doesn't look like. I guess it didn't line up that well. I'm watching this too as I'm recording, obviously, and sort of just getting reminded of all the little details I put into it. Really quite interested in seeing how all this park will turn out, and I guess I'll leave you guys with that and get back to watching this time lapse. And here we sort of see, one of the reasons why I start a project like this is for the payoff of seeing some of the favorite parts of this park in a game. And one of the reasons why this is paused here is because this is where I took a picture years ago that I really loved, and to this day I still love it. And here I sort of started realizing, the sun and everything is not in the right spot in the sky, and this brings up a big point in this game, and for all game development. Why can't I control where the sun is? What do I want? I'm gonna have to find the exact right spot to put this, so I can get the sun right where it normally is on a sunset ride on Maverick. That is probably the scene I want to recreate the most. Mind you, it doesn't even apply to me yet because we're nowhere near the back of the park. But when that day comes, I'm gonna have to figure something out, because man, do I want to see that. And I mean, maybe eventually we'll be able to get more going on too, like being able to control beyond the limits of our confines here in this fake park, and be able to remove the rolling hills and replace it with the lovely Lake Erie. Home of the cleanest Great Lake. I'm kidding. I know it's not the cleanest. I know it's pretty dirty, but still. It still is a beautiful setting for this park, and it's something that I wish I could recreate. And it's something I tried to do in the original, but again, you can't control those rolling hills, unfortunately. Yeah. Either way, so far, I'm very, very happy with how it's turned out, and how just sort of the little details of like rounding over the edges on that on the keyholes. I feel like that looks really good. And now we're taking a little bit of a break from this main entryway area. There's still obviously a lot of details that need to come for there, and I'll be honest, haven't even gotten to all of them yet. But here's a big one though. The main ticket booth at the front entrance. We gotta really work on those and figure out the best way to build them. There's a lot of detail in these buildings, and I hope I get to a little bit of it in this episode. Some of the work that I put in, I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. I think it's something where I might need to still tweak the colors of it, even to this day. I don't think I quite have the colors 100% right, but it's something that I think turned out looking quite good actually, and something I'm looking forward to showing. Yeah. I think it just goes to show that sometimes you really gotta just work. This is one of those moments where I kind of dread doing it, and it took a lot of work, a lot more work than you'd expect, to get this building set up and get it looking what I consider to be adequate. It still isn't even as our good friend Mary would say, watertight. It's still missing the interior. There's still quite a bit of work that would need to be done on it for it to be complete. But hey, everything has to start somewhere, and it still has been satisfying to see it come to its completion, even though it was something that in the moment was kind of boring me to death. And I think is one of the reasons why I slowed down and working on the park for a bit, because it was trickier than I thought it would be. Here we're trying to find the correct sort of masonry to go along the bottom of it. Quick little detail. There are a lot of assets in this game, and I think a lot of them work quite well with what we're trying to do, but every once in a while it just feels like something's missing, and it sucks because I know using the shapes and the art pieces, I know I could build most of what I need, but oh my goodness, I don't want the part count to get too high. I don't want to spend too long to get every last detail, and I think this masonry is a good example of The game has stuff that works very good. Why not use it? I will say some issues and sort of little tricky problems I've been having has been with the move tools and grouping and how they move together. I feel like there's some stuff going on that, well, and I know I've gone through all the settings. I know you can change to use it to move based on averages. You can have it move to change based on bounding boxes, but something just feels off when it comes to movement with grouped objects. And yeah, I'm still getting used to it, but something just, I feel like I'm fighting it way more in this game than I ever did in Planet Coaster 1. And that's a little scary, knowing how much stuff I have to do. Realistically, the only thing that scares me for is making Millennium Force's lift hill again. But, oh, here we go, actually. We're starting to see sort of the detailing on sort of the paneling on those front, on the ticket booth. And this also applies for the bathroom and the group, the season pass sales building. And also, I haven't actually gotten to it yet. Fast forward. Oh, I just realized I spoiled some stuff. But I haven't gotten to it yet, but I haven't done the guest services building yet, but it's also using the same general shebang. Trying to figure out where the pattern should start and stop is a little tricky, because obviously it's not the perfect size to perfectly wrap around it. So that's actually been an interesting challenge in trying to figure out the best way to combine and cancel all this stuff. I wonder, did I skip some stuff? Sometimes I work on the part a little bit off camera just because feeling motivated, not quite feeling like I want this work to be recorded that entire time, but yeah, either way, I'll let you go. We're nearing the end of this video. Here in a little bit, I'll send you guys off. And, yeah. guys, that's been episode 2 of the time lapse. I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. Looking forward to sharing more of this project as it comes along. We've got quite a bit more done, and we're slowly seeing those little details trickle in, and it's been exciting, and I'm happy to continue sharing it. The next video may start off. No, the next video will continue this, but I think 2 videos from now may start off with a little bit of a recap because I forgot to record a bunch of work. But yeah, I'm still very excited to show you guys. I'm excited for this project to keep on continuing and to be able to sort of find interesting topics to talk about along the way. I think eventually I'll include different sections about sort of cool little stats and cool little hidden facts, but unfortunately I don't know enough about the front of this park to do that currently. But anyway, with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!